Hey guys, the season of spooks is upon us once again, so for Halloween I'm going to review a super spooky and very awesome Mame game called Night Slashers. Night Slashers is a beat-em-up released in the arcades by Data East in 1993, so it's nothing you haven't seen before, but what makes the game worth playing is the horror paint job it's been given. In the not too distant future, whenever the game designers wanted this to take place, King Zaritz is trying to turn the world into a giant kingdom of the undead. But you and a friend, if you have one, must stop him with your choice of 3 characters. First up, you have Jack Hunter, whose nickname is the Psychic Cyborg. God, that is dumb. He's the most powerful, but kinda slow. Christopher Smith, a vampire hunter and martial artist. He's the most balanced with power and speed. And Hong Hua, a martial artist and alchemist who is very fast but the weakest. Each character has the typical punches, jump kicks, and grabs, but also has a few other tricks up their sleeves, like holding down the punch button will charge up a stronger attack. If you jump and press down on an enemy, you will put them in the ground to be able to kick them for a while. Pressing both punch and jump does a strong attack, best used when surrounded. This will take a small portion of your life. And there's a whole button dedicated to your screen clearing move that takes a considerable amount of your life away, so I suggest only using this when food is nearby or during boss battles. Speaking of the screen clearing moves, Jake uses lightning, Chris uses ice, and Hong uses fire. The enemies you encounter are super spooky. You have zombies, werewolves, executors. Ah! Get off me! Oh, and of course, bats. Ha, take that. The bosses are even spookier. You have classics like Dracula, a mummy, a knight or a suit of armor, Frankenstein's monster, and even a mad scientist. But you also have some strange bosses, like a stone golem who bleeds for some reason, Death, who's nowhere near as hard as he is in Castlevania, Mayan gods or tribesmen, maybe? And the ghost of a helicopter. How the helicopter itself is a ghost is beyond me. The levels in the game are great and well designed. I love that in some levels, parts of the background come to life. Literally, like in the first level, when the body bags start rolling off the shelves. And in level 3, when the paintings start attacking. Some levels in the game are really short. Take level 4 for example. It's maybe 2 screens of bad guys, then a boss battle, then on to the next stage. Also, level 1 is pretty short. Again, maybe 4 screens of ghouls, and a battle with the mad scientist, then Frankenstein's monster. This isn't a bad thing if you ask me, since beat-em-ups get redundant pretty quickly. Even though there are some short stages, it's all made up for in level 3, where you fight some bad guys, then head up an elevator full of ghouls, then take on a mini-boss, fight more guys, then head outside, fight some more guys, then face Dracula. My screen recording for this level was over 9 minutes. In between some levels are minigames like Whack-a-Zombo. This might look easy, but lining up and positioning your character to kick them is very precise. And Zombie Bowling. Tap the button as fast as you can and launch the zombies into the others. I also love the dumb advertisements during these minigames. Unlike most beat-em-ups, this game doesn't have many weapons. There are knives, balls of energy that you can throw, and suitcases, which sometimes even have things inside of them. Oh look, I got a rock. Oh, do I get to use the knight's sword? Aw, I wanted to use the knight's sword, but instead I get to use this dinky little one that I can only throw, not swing. Towards the end of the game, I did notice that more weapons were showing up, like in this level. Besides weapons, there's food that gives you health, usually found before boss battles or in barrels. and the stinger icon, and gems and gold for points. The music is alright, but kind of forgettable. The boss battle music is good, it sounds like the riff to Walk This Way, and a couple of levels have some rock and MIDI guitar going on. But it's got that twang sound of the Genesis, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not my favorite sounding chiptune style. There are cutscenes in between levels that elaborate on the story. These scenes look pretty good, but since I'm playing the Japanese ROM, I couldn't tell you what is going on. But before each boss battle, your character exchanges a cheesy one-liner with the boss that is spoken in English. Also, when the player is knocked down, they will usually say something like, "Ah, you caught me off guard!" Like most arcade games, this one is tough, especially with one player. The amount of enemies on screen in later levels is ridiculous, so I found myself using the screen clearing move a lot more. With 2 players, the enemies might be a bit more manageable, but would probably still be a little much. Oh look, it's the staple fat guy enemy that's in every beat 'em up, who always seems to be the most athletic bad guy since he's rolling around and belly flopping. I used around 15 credits to beat this game, which lasts a somewhat tolerable 7 levels, so not bad. I mentioned earlier that I was playing the Japanese ROM of this game, so you might be wondering, did this come out in the States? Yes it did, but there was some censorship. Blood was changed from red to green, and it was less gory, but there's apparently an option on the overseas version for blood-colored gore level. Also, Chris holds out a crucifix for one of his attacks, and that was changed to a crystal ball. One of my favorite little details in this game is how the sign that tells you go flips over and says "To Hell" on the back. This was also taken out. And I guess there's some more pictures in the cutscenes in the Japanese version. So once you beat the game, you're treated to one of 3 endings depending on which character beats the final boss. So there is some replayability here if you want a reason to play it again. So that is Night Slashers, a pretty good beat 'em up and alternative to Final Fight. If you ask me, it's got great design and definitely worth a download, or if you're lucky enough to find a cabinet, it might be worth the purchase. So for Halloween, get your spook on with this arcade exclusive gem. See you guys next time, please subscribe, check out my channel, my reviews, my band, whatever.